An object can tell you so many different stories, and this one tells of hope and healing, of two enemies who became friends, and the power art holds over us all. On January 31st, 1906, Henry Carl Tones was born in Mobile, Alabama, to Herman, who owned and operated a local fruit stand, and his wife Emma. Henry grew up with his three brothers and sisters in a house that once stood at 401 South Bayou Street, and he attended Mobile High School. Henry excelled at football and was a valued member of the high school team. When he graduated in 1923, Henry went on to the University of Alabama, where he was a member of the Phi Beta Kappa fraternity and the honorary Scholastic fraternity. After graduating from college, Henry Tones found work as an insurance collector, and in 1930 he joined the Army Reserves. By 1932, Henry held the rank of First Lieutenant and was the commander of Battery E, 2nd Battalion, 925th Coastal Artillery. In the late 1930s, Henry married Elizabeth Ray, and on October 25, 1940, he was called up to active service. Henry now held the rank of Lieutenant Colonel, and he was put in command of the 414th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Battalion. By December of 1944, Colonel Tones was in Dinant, Belgium, at the point of the German spearhead which formed the famous Belgian Bulge. "We got plenty of action in freezing cold weather, and shot down 8 planes, and took 42 prisoners during Christmas week," recalled Tones. One of those prisoners was searched by the lieutenant colonel, and he found the ID bracelet and personal effects of Private Thomas Bullitt within the German soldier's pockets. He had been among a group that had ambushed and captured the jeep Private Bullitt was driving, killing him in the process. Colonel Tones made sure that these possessions were returned to Bullitt's family in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Just a few months later, in April of 1945, Colonel Tones and his men found themselves undertaking a very different job. The colonel was now the commandant of a prisoner of war camp in Metz, France, where he and his men served until the end of the war. We had 11,000 German officers in the camp, but they were not hard to handle, for they realized they were defeated. There were generals, colonels, and others of high rank, but they were no longer the arrogant supermen of the early months of the war, Colonel Tones explained. There were no attempts to escape, and we were never forced to shoot any of the prisoners. They were treated well under the rules of the Geneva Convention, and showed themselves to be just ordinary human beings. First Lieutenant Horst Rumstedt was among those ordinary human beings. Horst was born in Sangerhausen, Germany, on January 30th, 1921, and he showed an interest in art from an early age. Before the outbreak of the Second World War, Horst completed 3 semesters at the Arts Academy of Dusseldorf. He volunteered for the Wehrmacht, or German Army, and was wounded 4 times on the Russian front. While recuperating, Horst took advantage of the time away and finished 2 more semesters at an art school in Königsberg. In 1945, Horst was promoted to first lieutenant, and not long after, he was sent to help stop the Allied wave that was now spreading across Germany. Luckily for Horst and his men, they were captured by the Americans and sent to the POW camp of Colonel Tones. A group of artists had formed within the camp, and Horst happily joined them. They would sell and trade their work, and Lieutenant Colonel Tones seems to have taken a particular interest in the art of First Lieutenant Rumstedt. He purchased several chalk and watercolor paintings that Horst had done on scraps of cardboard, and seems to have been supportive of his artistic endeavors. As a token of his appreciation, Horst and the group organized an art exhibition and sent Lieutenant Colonel Tones a personal invitation. July 19th, 1945. To Lieutenant Colonel Tones, Sir, the officers of PW Cage 3 begged to invite you to visit an exhibition of self-made articles, as well of art as for daily use, and will be pleased if you could find the time to have a look at these products. Opening on Sunday, 22nd of July, 1945, at 11 a.m. Sincerely yours, Horst. Lieutenant Colonel Tones happily accepted this invitation, and at the show, he was personally gifted this album by First Lieutenant Horst Rumstead. It's made of scrap leather, cardboard, and bits of thin metal from ration cans, all sewn and glued together. Embossed upon its cover are Henry Tones' initials, and each page contains a piece of art made by Horst, including this portrait of Colonel Tones, and many scenes of prison camp life. I'm not sure when Lieutenant Colonel Tones left his role as warden of the Metz POW camp, but he was put on terminal leave sometime after his return to the States. And on February 10th, 1946, he was discharged from the Army. Henry returned to his insurance company job and lived many happy years with his wife Elizabeth. First Lieutenant Horst Rumstead wasn't freed from captivity until 1947, and after his release, he settled in Frankfurt for a number of years. There were 4 major exhibitions of his work held in Frankfurt, followed by others in London, New York, and Beirut. He came to be known not just as a painter, but as a sculptor and writer as well. In 1974, Horst received an honorary doctorate from the Academy of Arts in Ravenna. Henry Carl Tones passed away on September 18, 1965, at the age of 59, and he was laid to rest at Pinecrest Cemetery in Mobile, Alabama. Horst Runstedt passed away in Augsburg, Germany, on March 22, 1986.